Centre. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Masters of Energy Studies program that the IEC runs. We're very lucky to have two of our current MES Masters of Energy Studies students joining us, Jeffrey and Sampad, and we'll get them to introduce themselves soon. They're going to also give a short presentation of their experience with the program. I'd also like to introduce Sebastian Thomas. Sebastian is the program manager for the Masters of Energy Studies, and Merrill, who is the marketing manager with the International Energy Centre. So the International Energy Centre is a joint venture between the Universities of Queensland, Newcastle and Western Australia, and we have a founding corporate member, Glencore Xstrata. We run the Masters of Energy Studies program, and that's what the webinar is about today. So this is a program run over the equivalent of 3 semesters full-time enrolment. It's co-taught by the 3 universities involved, plus we have a number of industry participants who are involved in teaching. It's co-delivered across those 3 university partners, and students, when they graduate, have a co-badged testament. So they have a Masters of Energy Studies with the logos of the University of Queensland, University of Western Australia and the University of Newcastle on that testament. Students enrol actually through the University of Queensland. The program came out of this grand challenge that we face around energy globally and locally. And that problem has a number of aspects to it. So we have big problems of global change, like climate change, for example. We have other drivers like increasing populations and increasing affluence and development in certain places like China in particular. And they have a large demand for additional supplies of energy. Problem is that the traditional way that we've generated energy, and particularly electricity, is using fossil fuels, and these fossil fuels exacerbate problems like climate change. So we live in a complex world that's changing, and we need to understand how energy fits into that. The people who founded the International Energy Centre recognise that to deal with these complex problems, we need, firstly, a perspective that goes across a number of traditional disciplinary backgrounds. So we need a little bit of engineering, we need a little bit of economics, we need to understand policy and legal aspects, we need to understand sustainability and environmental management and these sorts of areas. And we need to understand how those work together, how we can use skills from each of those traditional areas in the most effective ways. So the program is characterised by its transdisciplinary approach. We teach elements of all of these traditional disciplines, and we work to integrate those together. It's also, we do a number of things in the courses that enable learnings around those areas, we think, more effectively. So students get a unique opportunity to engage with people from industry. We do lots of field trips and practical exercises so that we can have the unique experience of learning, if you like, in practice and in the field. And we have lots of different and interesting assessment items that aim to get a sort of integration of issues together. So the program works across those issues. It's transdisciplinary and it's integrative, and it aims to deliver on these specific types of tools. The courses within the program are delivered in intensive modes of delivery. So we have each course being delivered as a 5-day intensive teaching block. And we deliver those blocks at each of our partner universities. So we have 3 blocks delivered in Brisbane at the University of Queensland, 3 blocks delivered in Newcastle at the University of Newcastle, and 2 blocks delivered in Perth at the University of Western Australia. Now, this enables us to do a couple of things. First of all, it enables us to access the experts and the different strengths of each of those three universities. Newcastle, for example, has some world-class expertise in different cleaner modes of generating electricity from coal. The University of Queensland has expertise in technologies related to photovoltaic development, expertise in carbon management. The University of Western Australia has oil and gas expertise and expertise in the economics of those topics. So we access that expertise by holding the courses as intensives around the country. They also enable us to see lots of different things as field trips and other types of experiences. They enable us to engage with industry in each of those locations. And of course, these locations are the hubs of resource development and coal and gas developments in particular in Australia. So as part of the fees that students pay when they enrol in the Masters of Energy Studies program is all of the costs for accommodation during the 5-day intensive blocks, the costs of the field trips, the course materials, and the networking opportunities with energy industry professionals. So we have, during each intensive, a formal dinner and typically a networking event. The formal dinner is with someone very senior from industry or government or academia. The networking event usually involves a number of people from industry or government or across those two groups that the students, and it's less formal, so the students have the opportunity to talk to them and discuss that. The IEC does not cover the costs of getting the students to the different intensive blocks, but more information is available on that in due course. There are a number of scholarship opportunities available. We'll draw your attention in particular to one which is the Australian Award Scholarships. There are some details here on these notes that Meryl, can you just confirm by typing that these will be emailed or made available to people whoever wants them? And the other set of scholarships that we have available are the Glencore Xstrata Energy Leader Scholarships. And details about those scholarships are available on our website. There's a nice little photo there of some of the current holders of those scholarships in the 2014 cohort. And there are many other scholarship opportunities that we can access. That's a very big, very short introduction into the Masters of Energy Studies program. But what I'd like to do now is hand over to two of our current students in the program. And I think Sampad's going to lead it off. Sampad, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Sampad. So I'll mute my microphone, Sampad, for a little while, and I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Welcome everybody from around the world. I'm current master's student studying energy studies. Here I'm just going to present something what I actually why I was interested to join this course, what I experienced through this course, and um, anything else what you want to know from a current student's perspective. Uh, Actually, uh, this is the context of energy crisis for the developing world and emission over emission for the developed countries due to fossil fuel utilization. But in my case, uh, I I was uh, working in energy related activities under government of Nepal, and I I was actually realizing the need to reform Nepal's energy problem, the crisis the country was facing, and I was in a interest to explore some alternative technologies. Those can deal with the energy demand of the country, and with that expectation, I actually like to join this course, and I believe I'm successful to fulfill my this expectation to date. Uh, and this program actually is designed in a very simple way which is suitable for the people from every background. It sometimes sounds like energy studies should be much related with engineering and technical things, but in here we are many people from different background, and everyone we are getting equal knowledge. It is simple because the things presented, things designed are in a very simple manner, and they are suitable for the people like us. Me, also from non-technical background, and I do not feel any kind of trouble while uh, going through the course modules. This course is better to gain opportunities of field exposure and various technological development, and how these such development are impacting the people's livelihood, the economy, the environment, climate, and all those things. That means we can get field exposure to learn those things, and we also get networking opportunities. That means throughout the intensive blocks of every course, um, at least one networking event is organized, and that event gives us real opportunity to get exposure with many energy professionals, industrialists, and stakeholders. And is a part of the intensive block, we get a chance to hear some professional energy specialist uh, on contemporary energy related issues, and that also gives us extra opportunity uh, to learn more on energy beyond the lectures that organized in classrooms. And we in the final we need to write a thesis or a report based on some professional placement or desktop review, or some kind of professional work or internship based work, and that will give us opportunity to express our learnings and our expertise and what we gained from this study. And ultimately, I believe this course will lead us to make energy leader, that what this world is currently looking for. Uh, and as a scholarship recipient from International Energy Center for this course, I also like to suggest you to apply for this scholarship. It will really give you an opportunity to accommodate your about 45% of the tuition fee, and this I think this is not only money you get, but it is a token of encouragement. That means you will be encouraged to um, learn, to join, and to get a good expert uh, from in energy sector. Actually, the Brisbane is a bit expensive city, If you will be based here, your more cost you will have to spend on lodging, fooding, and transportation. And if you will be able to receive this scholarship, it will definitely reduce your pressure on your economic expenses. Mm, and except this Glencore Ex Strata Energy Leadership Scholarship, uh, which is provided through International Energy Center, there are other many scholarship options are available that already Paul has mentioned, and those websites can give you lots of information how and from where you can get the scholarship. And actually, this scholarship has helped me very much because uh, I I can manage my personal expenses from some part-time works that that legally immigration department allow me, and from the scholarship you can your 50% about 50% fee will be paid, and then only you need to manage next 50% of the total fees. And this is how we can manage uh, our study, accommodating um, our cost uh, required for this program. uh, and I'm happy to answer your further question at the end of this session. And now I like to hand over this again to all. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Sempad, and that was a really nice presentation. Now, if I could kindly invite Jeffrey to join us. Jeffrey, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here, Paul. Thank you very much.
So
Hello, everybody.
I'll hand to you, Jeffrey.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul. So let me begin by welcoming everybody. Hello, everyone, and special welcome to Hector, Aiden, and Pradosh. I'm Jeffrey Ndegwa, an economist from Kenya who has made the lucrative decision to embark on a career in this lucrative world of energy studies, an industry that's laden with very many challenges, as you would know. And it is a privilege being here to brief you on what this program is all about and to share with you my experience on the Masters of Energy Studies program. All right, let's get into it. What have I learned from the MES experience? Well, let's start with an environmental approach. There is a 95% consensus that human-related activity is to blame for global warming. We know that the energy industry bears the biggest responsibility for carbon-related emissions. And as you would know, our progress as a human species is based on the consumption of more and more and more energy. Other industries like transport, for instance, are very reliant on the increased consumption of more and innovative ways to create energy. So governments need to collaborate to ensure that global warming does not increase by more than 1 or 2 degrees. Why 1 or 2 degrees? This is because if temperatures increase by more than this, then the consequences might be disastrous. We are seeing more tsunamis occurring. We are seeing more environmental disasters occurring at a higher and more frequent level as the years go on. We know that fossil fuels are still much more productive than renewable sources. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, as you consider this program, come knowing that fossil fuels are here to stay. Sinking money into high-tech renewable energy technologies is perhaps an effective way to reduce greenhouse gases. If you're keen on the non-renewable route, i.e. fossil fuels, technologies like carbon capture and storage are also available. This and a wide range of other technologies will be taught to you by Paul. I think this is where he specializes. What have I learned from your MES experience? From my MES experience? Well, from a policy approach, guys, it's not easy to get people to cut down their emissions. It's not been easy to get countries to bring down their emissions. We know that various agreements like the Kyoto Protocol have tried almost in vain. There have been a few successes, but the various agreements like these have proven that it's very difficult to get people to cut down their emissions. We should perhaps focus on prices and new policies, in my opinion. We see that countries like Germany have committed up to $130 billion on solar panels, and perhaps the world might need to consider a new global climate change treaty that is more enforceable and more economically viable than past agreements. These are things that you will discuss in great detail as you go along the course should you decide to sign up. From a planning approach, guys, the world can increase its energy production to meet energy consumption in a safe and sustainable way. Concepts like energy efficiency, for example, can be used to achieve this. Energy efficiency means using less and getting more, thus burning less carbon while releasing more energy. From an economic approach, low carbon solutions can be used to create hundreds of thousands of green jobs in the coming decades, create tens of millions of dollars. In fact, let me say hundreds of millions of dollars, perhaps billions in revenue. Economic formulas like LCOE will be taught to you guys. LCOE stands for least cost of electricity. It includes the initial capital, the discount rate, as well as the cost of continuous operation, fuel, and maintenance. This way, guys, we know what it takes to produce the energy that we consume on a daily basis. Why should you guys consider the MES? Well, if you're looking for leadership that drives changes in the energy industry, there's a lot of degrees out there that approach energy studies from a very scientific perspective. But if you're looking for sustainable leadership, the how to do it, the how to drive it, then this is the course for you. It combines academic theory and practical industry knowledge. As Paul would have mentioned, there's a lot of traveling to power sites, different coal mines and coal stations and that kind of thing. It will prepare you for a career in policy, consulting, project management, or commercial enterprise. This course basically balances energy practice with the art of sustainability. What do I mean by sustainability? Sustainable practice, energy practice, is any activity that can be maintained over the long term and is viable or feasible. I'm sure you'll agree with me that that applies to entrepreneurship, it applies to business, and it also applies to the energy industry. So my experience living in Australia, let me expound a bit on this. This is perhaps the juiciest part. It's been great living in Australia. Studying in Australia has stimulated a lot of innovative and creative thinking, in fact more than anything. This is because of the numerous power plants located in Queensland and New South Wales that we have been privileged enough to visit in this program and compare their technologies with one another. The numerous libraries and study facilities, the public ones and the private ones, they're all well equipped and you have full access to them. Friendliness. Australia is a very friendly culture which welcomes foreigners and helps them settle down. Brisbane particularly, where the MES will be held, has a diverse mix of cultures. There is little or no discrimination and everybody is pretty much treated equally. UQ has support networks and clubs that extend far beyond the classrooms and into personal development and growth of students. Such networks can help you find accommodation, settle down, make friends, and generally fit in. Therefore, living in Brisbane has not only taught me about Australian culture, it's given me a 360-degree vision of other nationalities who are gathered here just like me to benefit from Australia's world-class knowledge and facilities. These facilities, as Paul has already mentioned, are offered not just by UQ on this program, but by the University of Newcastle and UWA as well, universities that you will travel to and you will also experience and enjoy their facilities and their lecturers and their expertise. I welcome any questions you might have, and I applaud you for considering this program, and I I encourage you to apply. Thank you very much. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you,
Might
Jeffrey.
just get you to mute your microphone.
Might just get you to mute your microphone.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, Jeffrey, that was fantastic. So thank you very much, Jeffrey, and thanks, Sampad. So I hope everybody that that was an informative session and explained a little bit more about the Masters of Energy Studies program, and from Sampad and Jeffrey's talks, you got a sense and a perspective of the student experience in the program. Now, if I can just ask at that point, has anyone got any questions or any specific things that we could assist with? If you do, please feel free to type them in and I'll do my best to answer them. See that Aidan's typing, so we'll see what the question is there. We should say too, welcome Hector. We didn't have the chance to say hello before. And Saeed and Zain, we know, and welcome back again, Saeed and Zain. Thanks, Aidan. So Aidan's question is, are there any majors in the program like business versus technical approaches? The answer to that, Aidan, is yes. There's currently 2 majors in the program. One is on lower emissions technologies. There's 2 courses. So the way the program works, if you study full-time, it goes over 3 semesters. And in each semester, you do the equivalent of 4 courses. So in semester 1, one moment, my computer's just been up. My apologies for that. In semester 1, we have courses in some basic principles like engineering principles, climate science and climate policy, and some courses in economics and finance management and the drivers of a low carbon world. In semester 2, we have 2 core courses that everyone in the program needs to do. And there's one of those is on more advanced decision-making processes, not just financial appraisal, but risk making decisions about potential investments that incorporate elements of risk appraisal as well. And we have another session that deals in a more advanced sense on some low emissions technologies. Students then get to choose which major they do, and that's defined by the next 2 courses that they do. So in the second semester, in the second 2 courses, they can do a course on low emissions technology, in which case they do one course which is quite technical in nature, and it deals specifically and in detail with low emissions technologies and approaches to things like carbon capture and storage and oxy-fuel firing of coal-fired generation systems, different types of gas generation. And then the second course in that major, they do a course in energy efficiency. The other current major is one in carbon management. And in that course, students get to do one course that looks at broad approaches to carbon management from a risk management perspective. And secondly, how they participate in the various monitoring, reporting and verification or validation type schemes around carbon management. So reporting, emissions reduction type activities, etc. We're in the process too of developing a 3rd major, which should be on offer in 2015. If not in 2015, then definitely in 2016. And that is a major in what we call energy poverty, which is more of the socio-economic aspects of energy equity and giving addressing these issues about the entitlement of people in poorer countries to access energy, develop electricity generation opportunities, the critical part that energy plays in development, and how that's all addressed in this world of significant change. I hope that answers your question, Aid. Throughout it too, we do some really specific business-related skills. So we do classic project appraisal, things like net present value, and how if we look at a project, how we can determine how much money we would get from it, and more to the point, whether it's a more profitable investment compared to other options. And as I mentioned before, we also look at more sophisticated ways of making decisions that incorporate risk. So, great, Aidan, thank you. And hello, Hector, welcome as well. So if anyone else has any questions, I see Hector's typing. We'll just see if Hector has a big question, a very specific question. So Hector's question is, what type of job positions are optimal for people with previous business management studies after completing the MES program? It's a very good question, Hector. I think it's just a question here of translation about what you mean by job positions are optimal. If I can take from that's what you mean, you might have to explain this just a little bit more, Hector, but I understand your question to be what types of job opportunities are most likely to be available to graduates of the Masters of Energy Studies program. Well, that is, of course, a very important question. It's one, obviously, that differs between different countries. We have a very diverse, great, Hector, thank you. We have a very diverse student cohort. Obviously, we have some students who are Australian citizens and have only worked in Australia, and they have existing careers in Australia. Those guys often use the degree to advance their career to more senior levels. There's some who also environmental management, and they want to broaden their qualifications so that they can move into other areas. We have, and again, people from different countries are motivated by different things. We heard about Jeffrey and Sampad, some of the factors that motivated them. And in different regions of the world, there's different types of opportunities. We think that the Masters of Energy Studies offering is a very unique opportunity. It gives you skills across a broad range of traditional disciplines. It should enable you to have some enhanced options to find employment opportunities. I think it's ideal for people in a variety of spaces. It's ideal for people who want careers with government and who can make informed policy. It's ideal for people who work in consulting and who want to work for clients and offer a diverse set of options and skills. It's ideal for people who work in the electricity supply chain, from generations to distributors to retailers, or however that industry is structured, and both conventional, like coal and conventional gas, unconventional, like newer forms of gas, shale gas, coal seam gas, and renewable energies as well. And there's private sector players active in different ways in different countries, but across all those areas. I also think it's very relevant for people who might have qualifications in business or law, who want to gain a better understanding and a better capacity in the more technical aspects. So that might then extend to people who work in the transport sector. Again, private sector companies, big and small. It might also be very suitable for entrepreneurs. There's not so much an optimal position. It depends on the individual, and we have a diverse student cohort. What we do, whilst we don't arrange for students to get a new job after they graduate, it's certainly not something that we do or are capable of doing. But what we do is create the opportunity for students to, first of all, create lots of new networks with industry, particularly in Australia, but also internationally. We also, hopefully, we equip them with some skills, tools, technical tools, professional decision-making tools, as well as the sorts of tools that should make them really employable in lots of different sectors. I hope that answers your question, Hector. Hector's typing. Thank you, Hector. So are there any other questions, anybody? It's a good opportunity to answer these. I should say that, Meryl, if you could you kindly just advise how the participants can get a hold of these slides and the relevant information, please? And also, everybody, if you have any questions, certainly Meryl is a great point of contact. You can see the information email up there on this slide on the screen. So Meryl says the slides and the recording of this webinar will be emailed to everybody. Great, thanks, Meryl. So if you have any other questions, we might close this one off in 1 or 2 minutes as scheduled. But by all means, you can please email us directly. We'd be delighted to help. Yes, Hector, when you're ready, please ask. This is a tough one. Because of the networking options and the meetings with industry experts, would you say that the Master of Energy Studies gives international students the same options of the time? That is a tough question, Hector. Thank you very much. My short answer to that would be that I'd answer that in 2 parts. And I need to be frank and honest with this for sure. The first part is that it depends on the individual student. So in my mind, a student who networks well, who has the right sets of skills and qualifications and achievements and differentiates themselves from the crowd, should be and is very likely to be just as competitive as anyone. In my view, the Australian job market does not have any sorts of phobias about employing people from other countries. But what it does have is a tendency to favour domestic Australian citizen applications for a lot of work, simply because it's easier and more familiar for most of those companies. So obviously, if an international, such a non-Australian citizen was to apply for work in Australia, they would have to be sponsored by an Australian company. And Australian companies do that very commonly, but there's a process to go through, and it's often simply easier and, if you like, more familiar for them to hire the domestic the Australian citizen option. But I would say of the degree options that people have to do, this is an area in Australia where there is, like many other parts of the world, great growing demand. It has a rapidly growing positive image, and I think that it equips international students. It was a very difficult one to answer. I see a few people are typing. I'll just give them a moment to get those questions in. Thanks, Aidan. So Aidan's asked, because this is an emerging field of importance, do you envisage new types of jobs being created into the future, and what would they be? Just briefly, yep, sure. Aidan. So look, in my opinion, yes, I've got a bit of a biased perspective here. I think we greatly need, new types of roles. So I think we need roles that go across the whole energy spectrum. We need specialist roles as well. We need them in the public sector, in all levels of government, and I think what's more likely to happen is that, particularly as some technologies and the cost of those technologies decline, like we have now with solar photovoltaic systems that go on that are small scale and go on houses, and the accompanying cost of batteries that go with those declining. We have new areas where there'll be jobs, but dealing with those new technologies. I think around the world there'll also be an increasing. There is already, and if the trend will continue, increasing action in relation to climate change and diversifying energy generation systems and the way that we use energy. So the short answer is, Aidan, I think absolutely. I think there'll be new types of jobs and new jobs in new types of industries. So I hope that answers your question, Aidan. Good stuff. So with that, everybody, I would say thank you very much for joining us. A very big thank you to Merrill for organising the webinar, and to Jeffrey and Sampat in particular for taking time out of their day to present us with their interesting presentations. I note there that I hope, by all means, Aidan and Hector, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We'd be delighted to help out. Wait for Hector for one moment. Terrific, Hector. I look forward to it.